Money means business, as we always say. Business means money, stability, and business mean a lot of money. But also there are happenings and variables that happen that destroy everything, or just they don't achieve what we really hope to achieve, economically speaking, like events like the COVID-19 and its variables. And then now we hear a new thing, the monkeypox, and so on and so forth. It seems, this is, like beginning and affecting economies, but we haven't even got out of this problem of the COVID-19 and what happened to the economy is being affected, and the lockdowns and all that, that we went into the conclusions, and that's not conclusion yet, but the repercussions of the war between Russia and Ukraine, or what's happening right now between Russia and Ukraine, that is affecting, again, economies, that is affecting everything due to the rising prices of fuel and gas, and even the lack of that. And we don't know how long this will go on, and definitely well, we'll see what's going to happen. Well, we're working very hard in Egypt not to feel that. We've been enjoying the holy month of Ramadan with the banquets and everything, and things. The government is working very hard and exerting its utmost efforts to make everything available and the best prices for people, despite what's happening worldwide and rising prices everywhere in the world. Well, we're going to talk about lots of things, of course, and what happened before, how it was before in Egypt last 10 years, actually, and how is it right now, the last 8 years, and the developments that are taking place. Before delving into that and talking about what we want to achieve of well, development and progress, let me first introduce our guest. We have with us Dr. Said Kholy. Always a pleasure having you, Doctor.
Same here, thank you.
Well, Dr. Said Kholy, Professor Dr. Said Kholy, who is a professor of management at Shams University, and also the chairman of the promotional committee, the High Supreme Council of Universities. And welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Well, before delving into anything, we'll go for a short break, after which we'll be coming back.
Sure.
And we'll start our talk. Stay
Sure.
tuned to us. Don't go away. We're coming back in a moment.
Despite the challenges and crises that cast a shadow on the global economy, Egypt was able, through a variety of reforms, to support the economy's ability to deal positively and flexibly with global shocks, and to provide an enabling and stimulating environment for investment. In the same context, a delegation from the Board of Executive Directors of the World Bank Group concluded a 5-day visit to Egypt, during which it reaffirmed the commitment of the World Bank Group to continue supporting development priorities in Egypt. As Egypt is taking steady steps towards achieving the goals of development and economic stability, which has been positively reflected on the indicators of economic performance and was praised by various international institutions, including the World Bank, which continued its optimistic expectations for the Egyptian economy's progress in the coming period, where the World Bank expected that the growth rate for the current fiscal year 2021 and 2022 will exceed the growth rates before the corona pandemic, which is the highest in 14 years, to reach 6.1% compared to 3.3% in 2020 and 2021. Dr. Mirza Hassan, Executive Director of the World Bank Group, said that the World Bank Group is committed to supporting recovery efforts in Egypt, especially in a very difficult global context. In their discussions with officials, it was encouraging to see climate issues and job creation among the top items on Egypt's development agenda. The World Bank report reviewed its expectations for the growth rate of the Egyptian economy for the fiscal year 2021 and 2022, as it expected it to record 6.1% in June 2022 report, compared to 5.5% in the April and January reports of the same year, 5% in the October 2021 report, and 4.5% in two reports, June and April 2021, and 5.8% 5% for the January 2021 report. Rania Al-Mashat, Minister of International Cooperation, said that the government is keen to strengthen its relations with multilateral and bilateral development partners, including the World Bank Group, as they look forward to more joint work with the World Bank through the framework of the new Strategic Partnership 2023 and 2027, in line with the state's priorities and the government's Egypt Launches program. The bank confirmed that economic growth in Egypt will continue to be supported by a boost from liquefied gas exports, benefiting from the rise in international prices. It also indicated that Egypt witnessed stronger economic activity than expected during the first half of the fiscal year 2021 and 2022. The report revealed that only 14 countries around the world will achieve an economic growth rate for 2022 that exceeds 6%, most notably Egypt at 6.1% and Bangladesh 6.4% in the 2021 and 2022 fiscal year, while India will record 7.5% in 2022 and 2023 fiscal year, and Iraq 8.8%, Saudi Arabia has 7%. The World Bank stated that economic reforms and higher oil revenues in some economies such as Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates will support the expected growth rate for the region, which will reach 5.3% for 2022. According to the report, the bank expected that Egypt would achieve the highest growth rate among the most important economies in the region over the next 2 years, to record 4.8% in 2022-2023 and 5% in 2023 and 2024. The report monitored growth rates forecast in some countries in the region, including Qatar, to record 4.5% in 2023, 4.4% in 2024, Turkey 3.2% in 2023 and 4% in 2024, Morocco 4.3% in 2023 and 3.6% in 2024, the United Arab Emirates 3.4% in 2023, 3.6% in 2024, Tunisia 3.5% in 2023 and 3.3% in 2024, and Bahrain 3.1% in 2023 and 2024.
We're back again to Money Means Business with our guest, Dr. Said Kholy, Professor of Management at Shamsi University and the Chairman of the Promotional Committee of the High Supreme Council of Universities. And welcome again, sir, with us.
Thank you.
Well, if we always have to remember, just to see how much a quantum leap actually was in effect and took place, how after the revolution and then the second revolution, how things were. And where we are right now, where we are standing, economically speaking, socially speaking, development in general, especially that we are very hard times that everybody is facing, but we are trying to bridge that and just go straight to our target.
In order to talk about growth, which we are on the positive side right now and expecting the end of this year, it will grow more and more. But we have to take in our consideration, we have to go flashback 8 years ago or 9 years ago and to see where we are right now. If you go 10 years ago, as you mentioned in your intro, the electricity was a blackout, safety and security of Egyptian people. It was a nightmare and it was a black days of Egypt in 1913, 2013 and so on. And the economy and our reserve was in a very low stage. And thanks God, in the last 8 years, to be specific, we don't have blackout anymore. We have excess supply of electricity, of power supply. We have our reserve from hard currency is over $40 billion right now. And our infrastructure, if you talk about 10 years ago, the infrastructure was in a very poor position in Egypt. Now we have infrastructure in all different means, whether we talk about roads, tunnels, and bridges, and so on. And we can compare it now with advanced country like the States, like China, like an Asian country. We have super highway right now. Security, we really get rid of all terrorism in Egypt. We have almost 100% in terms of safety and security of our borders. All of that leads to very important things. Leadership of Egypt, and that is what expected. Expected means the leadership of Egypt, they are moving from reactive to proactive. Reactive means simply we have a problem and we start to react. Now the leadership of Egypt is proactive in terms of we are predicting what will happen with the crisis of COVID-19. We were prepared for it. We got out of COVID-19 in a positive side also. Remember, in the last few months, we have the, as you mentioned, the Russian-Ukrainian war, which it doesn't affect Egypt, it affects the whole world. It affected the supply chain, it affected the logistic of to ship food supply and all different materials, raw material and component parts to all different parts of the world. It doesn't really affect Egypt in that dimension. Remember, in Europe and many other parts of the world, like the States, for example, they have a shortage in a food supply. We don't have a shortage of food supply. And that's why we have to talk about the result of a good policy, a good strategy, which is Egypt Vision 2030, which it really benefit us during this crisis with COVID-19 crisis and with Russian-Ukrainian war crisis. We don't have shortage in terms of food. I believe when I have friends from the Gulf come to visit me, they see our supermarket filled with product and so on, with agriculture and so on. And that is a policy and that is a planning. When President Sisi, for example, a couple of years ago, it doesn't happen overnight, 2 million acres in order to provide us with our food supply, in order to depend on our agriculture sector, in order to depend on our industrial sector. All of this is policy made, and it really, we didn't get negative effect from all different crises like COVID-19, like Russian war. My prediction, the growth rate, it will go up in the near future. Now the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund expected Egypt by the end of year, the growth rate, it will be 6.1, which is magnificent growth. And my prediction, within 2023, it will go up over 7%. And that is the good news. All of that, it really reflected Egyptian. Of course, most of us suffered, but we have to be patient with the policy in order to revive in the future. Yeah. There is a short-term effect and there is a long-term effect. The short-term effect, it may suffer, but in the long-term effect will be in prosperity and in a growth rate, and it will benefit us and our kids and our grandchildren in the near future, inshallah.
Definitely. Well, we suffered in the previous time, for 30 years we've been suffering actually. But right now, like we're working hard and we're just seeing results. And everybody feels that the ownership of his own country and trying to exert the utmost effort. And well, we know that, we're doing the best for our kids and for ourselves, that we're going to be feeling the results and enjoying the results. And we see the things that we were dreaming of really materializing. I always said, you know, I had a show called From Dream to Reality, but then dreams are becoming a reality and realities, and we have a lot that is happening and very fast. I always say, okay, with the Suez Canal and all the development that is taking place, and President Sisi is saying there is no time, there is no time. And going very fast and building these greenhouses and all that are just making us find food that is there and you know, cheaper. Even when the prices went up, they just went cheaper. And then of course there are outlets to sell cheaper well, materials and goods for the people. Actually, with the collaboration of certain supermarket chains that are really providing good quality food with very reasonable prices, not letting prices for merchants and for the traders to put high prices as they like. Even there are campaigns to check on the prices of the goods that are there. That was all a dream. Now, you know, we are enjoying it. We are just, you know, thinking, okay, we exerted so much before, but right now we are exerting things, and we are just taking it in order to enjoy later on.
Absolutely. Remember, when we talk about President Sisi, he means good, and he means development, and he wants to see Egypt in a different place. And let me assure you, we will be in a different place. Yeah. And remember, the leadership of Egypt, they gain the trust of Egyptian people. And that is very important. So he's not working by himself, but he's working, and almost the majority of Egyptian population is behind his decision and the government decision. And the people, if you can see the change in Egypt, in terms of power supply, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of agriculture, in terms of industrial sector, you are blind. Of course, we have a lot of change.
Well, you want to be blind. It's just to keep just saying nuisances. That's it, you know, because
Absolutely.
some people have agendas and they keep spreading the wrong information. And I hear very weird things from people. Don't you see? Especially that, you know, I know that foreigners, when they come, you know, they keep coming and going. Every week they see a difference. And, you know, I'm talking about positive change.
We are talking about reality, not myths anymore. Yeah. We are not talking about rumors anymore. And the people, they don't trust that.
Yeah.
And remember, the social project which offered for Haya Karima, for example, it really target the needy people and the poor people of Egypt. Remember, the investing in human resources, for the human capital, investing heavily in training our workforce. All of that, whether we're talking about infrastructure, whether we're talking about power supply, whether we're talking about agriculture, industrial, all of that, when we combine together, will be able to attract, and we start to attract foreign direct investment to Egypt. Remember, with the discovery of gas, for example, in the Mediterranean Sea and many other places in the Red Sea, it will put Egypt in the exporting map for gas to the world. And all of that, it will be put back into the economical sector for Egyptian economical sector, and it will help us to grow and to grow more in the future. And that is what investor really, I'm not talking about foreign direct investment, I'm talking about internal investment. If you trust the system, we have, for example, digital transformation right now. We have a lot of investment law. We work on investing law. We facilitate all the procedure in order to open project, open factories here in Egypt with the taxation system, the new one. All of that, it will help us to attract more and more foreign direct investment. I believe Egypt, within 2 years, it will be the hub for industrial sector in the Middle East and in Africa in the very near future.
Well, it's really amazing during the COVID-19 crisis and everybody was like the lockdowns and all that. When I was asking my guests, and you one of them, when I'm asking would that affect the Egyptian economy? How would that affect us? And everybody was really worried about that. And you didn't seem worried. They didn't seem worried. They said it's not going to affect us. It's like, things are just, working. If it affects, the minimum, but then, work is going ahead. Things are going ahead, which is really amazing. When I ask now, it's not affecting us as others are affected, and work is going as if nothing is happening.
And that is the leadership. That we didn't have really, we didn't shut down our economical system like the rest of the world. We work in parallel. We were able to cope with the COVID-19 crisis in one hand. In the other hand, we are working in the development. We didn't stop the development. All the project, it continued and so on. And that is as we mentioned, is the vision of leadership. Leadership is very important. We didn't shut down our business, our factory and so on, like many other country in the world. I believe that is planning, that is a strategy, that is a vision of our leadership. And that is the focus. They're talking now about growth, not talking about planning, we are talking about growth. We planned, we developed Egypt Vision 2030, and now we start to gain the fruits of our strategy in the very near future.
There was also work with the Emirates, investment, and Jordan. The three countries pledged to work together in order to just and have investments and support each other, which is really great. This is investment that is taking place, and I think complementing each other in the different fields is a plus. Instead of going a bit further. First, with the Arab countries and with Africa, that, we should really, as, President Sisi is turning to that. And this is, in itself a big entity that we can thrive together, helping each other.
Absolutely. The joint cooperation with Arab country is very important. Joint cooperation right now, like in Tanzania, for example, which President Sisi met the foreign minister of Tanzania, and they invited him to visit Tanzania and many other African. President Sisi working with all different avenues. He's not really working with one side of the world and leaving the other side. And that is the only president came to Egypt where he working with European people, with African people, with Arab people, with Latin country, with United States, with Canada, with all different country. He opens the door for all doors in order to come and invest in Egypt. Remember, he doesn't really depend on one side and leave the other side. And that is very important. Joint cooperation, remember our competitive advantage here in Egypt, beside the location, beside all different things we talked about, is the human resources. Egypt is the largest Arab country in terms of population. We have a highly educated labor market here in Egypt, highly trained. We are able to, in terms of all different industry, whether infrastructure, whether it's textile industry and so on, and that it will give us a competitive advantage in order to benefit UAE, for example, in order to benefit Jordanian. And if we work together, and that it was the idea over 50 years ago from the Arab League, is to be united, is to work together in order to enhance our economy. And remember, all foreign direct investment for this country, it goes for Europe and for the States. Now it is the time to invest in Egypt. You will have a high return of investment, more than in Europe, more than the States, more than Asia, if you come and invest in Egypt. And we have the platform in order to really protect your investment, in order to increase the profitability and the reward of your investment if you come invest in Egypt. We have all different factors for investment. We talk about energy, we talk about infrastructure, we talk about human resources, we talk about location, which it will enable us to attract more and more foreign direct investment, not only from Arab country, but we are working with African country in terms of agriculture, and with European country and Asian country and American company in order to bring the know-how and technology and invest here in Egypt.
What do we need right now, actually, now? Do we need to market ourselves more in the different fields, that not only economically speaking or for investment? Do we need to market ourselves for, tourism better than before? In other ways, do we need to market ourselves, to show the world what we've got new in order to invite them to come and increase the investments? What do we need now?
We have the government now, they have a marketing strategy, and the marketing strategy for all different government in Egypt, they have to come up with an investment opportunity in each government. For example, Upper Egypt, they have their agenda. In the valley, they have their agenda, and so on. We have for every governor in Egypt, they have to develop opportunity. What is the investment opportunity in that particular government? In Dumyat, for example, they have a high skills labor market for furniture. We have to market that. In another government, they have profession in terms of any other industry. In Mahalla Cobra, for example, and so on, textile industry. We have to market ourselves in order to attract foreign direct investment. Without marketing strategy, we are not going to talk local between us. No. We have to send the message for outside. And remember, with the World Youth Conference, which we have more than one, and that is marketing for people who comes in thousands, come to Egypt, and we invite people from Africa, from all different parts of the world. It is not only the 3 days, it's the people who are going back. They are talking about the development in Egypt. They talk about the new environment of Egypt. I believe every time I receive somebody coming from abroad, you see Egypt is different than the months before, than the day before, different than a week before. We are moving in a right direction. We are doing things which you can see it on reality, not a fiction.
Definitely. Well, and we're going for a short break, and we're coming back in a moment. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away.
Egypt has paid due internal and external debts with a total value of $24 billion. And this has been since the beginning of this year. The Central Bank of Egypt said that the distribution of debts repaid since the beginning of the year, including $10 billion in external debts and $14 billion in foreign funds. Central Egyptian data showed that the amounts paid were directed to repay owed international loans and bonds, which reflects Egypt's commitment to pay all dues on time. One of the largest international companies in the field of satellite manufacturing confirmed that Egypt's success in launching the Nilesat 301 satellite will enhance its leadership in the field of satellites and broadcast services in the Middle East and North Africa. The company said in a statement that the Nilesat 301 satellite is a joint venture between the French and Italian companies, with 67% and 33% for the Egyptian company for satellites Nilesat. In a session that witnessed a remarkable rise on the Egyptian stock exchange, 5 stocks recorded the highest increases in the market, with rates ranging between 18.5% and 9% in various sectors. The list of the highest gainers was led by the agricultural investment sector, as well as the financial sector and the housing sector. The Egyptian Stock Exchange ended its dealings last week with a rise in its indices that ranged between approximately 2 and 4%, topped by the 30 index by 1.87%, closing at 10,236 points. Then the 70 index, EGX 70, by 2742 points, and the percentage index EGX 100 by 3.14%, closing at the level of 10,236 points, 183.7 points. Gold prices fell today during early trading on Friday morning, coinciding with the decline of gold globally ahead of the announcement of inflation data. The price of a gram of 24-karat gold fell to £1,109 compared to £1,111, and the price of a gram of 18-karat gold fell to £831.98 compared to £833.36. While gold prices fell globally and tended to record a weekly decline with the increase in Treasury bond yields, while investors are awaiting monthly inflation data in the United States, seeking indications of the future of the Federal Reserve's monetary policy. Minister of Supply and Internal Trade, Dr. Ali al-Musalhi, affirmed that Egypt possesses large fortresses for the manufacture of ceramics, porcelain, and sanitary ware. During the opening of the official exhibition of ceramics, porcelain, sanitary ware, and kitchen utensils, he pointed out that the philosophy of these fairs is to contribute to revitalizing internal trade and relieving citizens with the reductions in them, which in some exhibitions reach 50%. The Minister of Supply and Internal Trade expressed his happiness with the quality of the exhibits in the exhibition, the discounts in it, and the presence of up to 75% of the exhibits of Egyptian companies. A report issued by the Ministry of Petroleum affirmed that the petrochemical industry witnessed remarkable progress during the last 8 years, as the two largest projects in the petrochemical industry were operated with total investments of about £72 billion. The past 8 years also witnessed the operation of 8 new projects in the field of refining and manufacturing, with a total investment cost of £87 billion and a production capacity of 6.6 million tons annually, which led to a 30% reduction in import quantities. The projects being implemented include the expansion of the Midr refinery in Alexandria, with the aim of increasing its refining capacity by 60%, with investments amounting to about $2.4 billion. The early operation of the second phase of the project was started in May 2022. The central bank revealed that the annual core inflation rate rose to 13.3% in May 2022 compared to 11.9% in April 2022. The core consumer price index, adjusted by the central bank, recorded a monthly rate of 1.6% in May 2022 compared to a rate of 0.3% in the same month of the previous year, and a monthly rate of 2.4% in April 2022, according to a report of the central bank. The General Urban Consumer Price Index, announced by the Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics, reached a monthly rate of 1.1% in May 2022 compared to a rate of 0.7% in the same month of the previous year, and a monthly rate of 3.3% in April 2022.
We're back into Money Means Business, and this is our second half and final half. Well, there is a lot of happenings, definitely, and in the field of education, of course, this is your field, sir. There are new universities, there are new curricula, there are new programs, everything is new, of course, and with the different cities and different universities. What is new in that domain?
I remember President Sisi, he mentioned very important statistics.
Yeah.
He said we are 100 million people, so we should have 100 universities, one university for each million. And the public university in Egypt is only like 27 public university or less than that. And now we start to have another university. For every university, they have another university attached to it. And we expanding the number of university. And we have also a lot of private university and the international university and the international branch of our European university for American university and so on. That is in terms of university and the institution. And remember, in university, it's classified worldwide as the following. It's a teaching university. You come and take classes and so on. And we have other university, which is a research-oriented university. And what we have in Egypt is mix, research and teaching. Like it can be 60% teaching and 40% research-oriented. And now we have technical university, and that is what really important for the growth and development we talked about in the first half of the program. In order to back up our growth in terms of industry, we have to have the education supporting that. Now we are talking about fourth industrial revolution, so our curriculum should focus on the fourth industrial revolution. Now we're talking about, when we talk about fourth industrial revolution, there is artificial intelligence, there is Internet of Things, and all of that has to be integrated in our curriculum. We used to talk about marketing, now we have digital marketing and so on. All of that, it has to be integrated in a new program. And let me bring you the good news for our experience at Ain Shams University. We are the first university in order to have a joint program with American University and Ain Shams University. And that is the good news. We are learning from it, and we are working hard on it in order to enhance our educational sector, inshallah.
Well, actually, there is a lot more we want to know from you, but then time flies very fast with you, sir. And we have other encounters that will just follow up everything, inshallah. Thank you for being with us. And it's always a pleasure having you, and a pleasure having our guests, definitely, and our viewers. So until we meet again next week, God bless Egypt, God bless Egyptians, God bless the world, God bless our president, our army, our white army, and our police. And as I quote from the Holy Quran, ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين, enter Egypt, God willing, safe. And from the Holy Bible, Mubarak Sha'abi Misr, blessed be Egypt, my people. I'm Nabi Nazim signing off. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye for now. Thank you.